All right, welcome back into the Ryan Ripken Show, episode 62 and stream 2 of the day. We did a special NFL live stream earlier because it's not technically free agency, but it really is. All the deals are being done during the tampering period, which started today at noon. But this show is our normal, regularly scheduled show. We're going to talk a lot of baseball, especially around the Baltimore Orioles. There's one bit of news as far as it's not Orioles related, but it does impact the Orioles because it's a rival team. We'll get into that. And we'll also dive into some of the spicy topics that did happen around free agency that does involve the Ravens because we are Baltimore run first. So we're going to have the Baltimore news. So let's go around and see who is in studio with us tonight now, shall we? We'll go obviously from my right to left. Zach is back in his spot.
Back again.
And
good to be here.
And we're going to the left. We got Brad and Kevin. Brad,
oh, Brad put the shades on.
Hey, now
look at that. If it's cool for the guy on the plane to wear sunglasses at night, I figured why not.
And people don't forget that, especially me.
Yeah.
I wear my sunglasses all at the same damn time, but it hurt, dude. That still pisses me off. Gosh, you had to start that off with me remembering some moments. My buddy's traveling, even coming back this past weekend. There's even some more travel disaster. We'll save that for a different time.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So where do we want to start first? Brad, do you have a poll to open up the show?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet? We're working on it. Okay. We're working on it. I know you set it up for me to see it more. Why don't we start with this? Before we get into the Baltimore Orioles news, and especially the number one overall prospect, Jackson Holliday, is playing particularly well. Why don't we talk about the Ravens that we thought were going to get the news during the stream, Zach?
Yeah.
And we just didn't. There's two names that are signed and they're not coming back to Baltimore: Geno Stone and Gus Edwards.
I just am putting it out there. Extremely happy that Geno Stone got his bag, went from seventh round to becoming this starter type player, got his payday. But I want to make one thing clear. I hope you miss every tackle against Baltimore. I hope every time you go, you slip and fall on your face and you can't tackle Lamar. But besides that, I hope you have a great career.
Yeah. Other than that, I hope you're great. I just hope you suck against
just
the Ravens.
Every time you lace them up at M&T Bank. I hope it's a little wobbly. You can't get your footing right. It's just how it is.
You have career years, except you don't have career games against Baltimore.
Exactly.
And I think to preface this though, also. It's all fun and games. I mean, even because Kevin Lamar Jackson's tweeting out, he's getting in on the action as well.
Well, he said, there's a little backstory to it. So Saquon Barkley signed with the Eagles earlier today, and Tiki Barber legitimately meant, he said, "You're dead to me, you're dead to us," and that's what Tiki legitimately was saying. He was not joking. And Lamar caught wind of that, and he said, "Oh, this is going to be my new thing. This is going to be my new phrase." So when Geno left for Cincinnati, he tweeted, "You're dead to us. You're dead to me." It's a joke, obviously, but it is. It's all fun and games. This is a business. Geno gets his bag. 2 years, $15 million, $6 million signing bonus. So good for Geno, especially, again, a 7th-round pick. Eric DeCosta called him the best 7th-round pick in franchise history. Cut by the Ravens twice his rookie season, and now has a huge bag that he can call his own.
This makes me sad, man. I met Geno a couple of years ago when, after the couple times he got cut, and he was just like a solid dude, just a really good guy. So it does make me sad to see him go.
That's why this annoys me so much, is because Geno, in my head, I won't lie, I had him going to Seattle. I was like, I am still going to be a massive Geno Stone guy. I'm going to root for him, hope everything. I can't do that with the Bengals.
No.
So now I just, like I said, now I have to root on his downfall when he plays against us. And I hate doing that to Geno because I'm so happy he went and got his bag. I was just not expecting it to be our biggest rival in the division.
Yeah, I think it's the same concept when your favorite player leaves or one of your favorite guys leaves and goes to a different team, right? We've seen it all the time with baseball. And I remember even one move way back then was Mike Mussina was leaving the Orioles and went to the Yankees. And talk about people saying you are dead to us. People were pissed when Moose went to the Yankees. I don't blame him, though. I missed having him around. It just stunk for the fans that your best pitcher now is wearing the pinstripes and facing you constantly.
And went on to one World Series and everything else. So, that's the part that sucked the most. It's just you jumped ship and left for the Yankees, and then you just won yourself a bunch of championships.
Well, and honestly, I don't think Brad, I don't think he got one.
He didn't get one?
I don't think he got one. That was the irony of doing it. But he ended up having a Hall of Fame career. I don't think he was on the 2009 team.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And
All right.
the funny thing is,
never mind. I take it back.
The Yankees.
He deserved that.
He deserved that.
Yep.
Yep. Oh goodness. Yeah, we're seeing some comments here though talking about Gino went to the Bengals, then the poop
Let's
emoji.
talk about real quick the underrated Raven leaving that. Even me and Kevin, we were walking across the street and we got the notification. Devin Duvernay to the Jaguars. Nice little payday there. So happy for him.
Yeah. Is the Jaguars just picking everybody?
The Jaguars
Apparently,
want everybody.
Yeah.
They wanted a kicker.
They did. They wanted a kicker and the
Oh.
deal was done.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Just ask all the big time sources out there.
And
Deal was done.
and those sources are not as good as our sources.
They're just not accurate.
So should we just dive into that real quickly? Because that was kind of spicy.
Incredible.
Okay, so earlier on the live stream, for those that tuned in, thank you for tuning in. If you're new to it right now, hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to dive into a lot of Orioles news, but this was a fun moment for us on the stream. We had Ravens long snapper Nick Moore in the building. We were talking about free agency, and then the news broke, according to sources, Will Lutz was signing a 3-year deal to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Nick, being friends with Will, did what anyone would do. They would text their friend, congratulations. Well, I think Nick got a little bit more than just a congratulations or thank you, man, text back. He got a lot more. So let's play that clip for you on what actually happened.
Will Lutz. Yeah. It's slightly premature from what I've been told.
Oh.
Slightly not accurate information.
Oh, this is why we have the long snapper in
It's not
studio.
100% accurate. Let's just put it that way.
So don't you love when sources say that they have sources that this deal is done?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's always about?
I spoke to somebody whose name starts with a W and ends with an L.
I was going to say, did you did you congratulate him?
Will's one of my boys.
Yeah.
He
The goat pen.
Hey, Will, congrats on the fake
Well,
deal.
I didn't know.
So I think I've watched that clip at least 30, 40 times while I was clipping it.
I can't believe it just still to this moment, like the reaction of knowing Nick. I just wish we could have seen Will Lutz's reaction to getting a text from Nick. I hope that's how Will Lutz found out that there's this rumor.
It's like, what?
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 We broke it was the big thing. It was like, yeah, the Jaguars just went out and got Will Lutz. They got their kicker, 3-year deal.
And isn't this also, and there very well could have been some truth behind it, but it's also
Sure, they're talking.
right. But this is something we bring up all the time, and it's no knock. Like, everyone wants to have the news, but just because it's out there doesn't mean that it's a done deal. And in this case, it certainly wasn't a done deal. And then what ended up happening? Will Lutz goes back to Denver on a 2-year deal.
I got the tweet.
And yeah, we'll pull that back up. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. But someone shouted us out. Was it Matt King, I believe, was someone that shouted us out saying the Ryan Ripken show reported it first. It's true. A plot twist. Source confirms that Will Lutz will stay in Denver. The first plot twist of free agency.
My first thoughts on this was that the plot never existed in the first place.
You know, and if Ian was watching the Ryan Ripken show, he would have had the insider
He
scoop.
would have known. He would have known.
That would have been an all-time tweet if suddenly, like, Ian Rappaport's like, per the Ryan Ripken show, this is actually fake. That would have been all-time.
Hey, one day it will. I think I told you guys this, and for all of our listeners out here, we try to make sure if we're going to, we're not in the news to break news necessarily. We try to be accurate with what we have. Yeah, we're not trying to be the insiders.
Yeah.
If news breaks that we know about, we're gladly share. But I think you can trust us. At least I'll say we might know a little bit more information that if we do speak on something, we hopefully have the right idea.
I'm only an insider in the we were talking about this before. Only an insider in the group chats. That's where
that's right.
there is no better feeling than when you
That's
see
so
something
true.
on Twitter of a guy getting traded or signed, and you're the first one to put it in the boys group chat, and everyone's like, "No way, seriously!" And you're like, "Yeah, I mean, I have sources," and it's just Adam Schefter.
Well, speaking of that, I want to talk about something quickly because there is legitimate beef between Tiki Barber and Saquon Barkley right now. What I just mentioned with Saquon and Tiki. Saquon is going at Tiki Barber literally 5 minutes ago. I'll read this out here. So again, Tiki was very serious and he said, "You're dead to us, Saquon. Good luck. You're dead to me." And Saquon responds and goes, "LOL, yup, you're the prime example of loyalty to a team. I got the deal I wanted, secured more, which was guaranteed money, which wasn't given to me before. So if fans are going to hate me for that, so be it. But I never turn my back on my teammates and always had theirs. You've been a hater since I got to New York, and all the dead to me talk. Don't smile in my face when you see me.
Okay, I don't think Saquon minced any words there. I
No.
think he spoke it exactly how he felt. But I want to give the context, and thank you for reading that out, Kevin, because we do have this on the audio form. So if anyone that's listening, we have it on Spotify and Apple and all of that. So to give the context of it, the Giants are the team that didn't sign Saquon to an extension last year.
Yes.
They chose
The Giants chose not to tag him, and then the Eagles reset the market and give him the largest contract so far for a running back this offseason.
Which I think is a dumb idea. Look, props to Saquon. Good for him getting that bag, but the Eagles paid way too much for a running back.
And that's a discussion, right?
Yeah.
But Saquon got what the Giants were not going to give him. Granted, now Saquon, I wouldn't be surprised if he combines for 8 touchdowns in the 2 games they face each other. I think he's going to be on a mission.
Maybe, but like, I don't know, man. This feels like a Deshaun Watson type deal, just in the running back space. There is not going to be another team that signs a running back to that kind of money. Period.
Yeah, Jacobs got 4 for 48.
So he technically got, what was his
But
guarantee?
what was the guarantee?
Was it similar?
I
guess regardless of it, I think with your point, we had this conversation. Wide receivers that sign out of free agency, not a lot of the deals end up panning out the way teams have hoped. Running backs, the shelf life is less, and we saw that specifically with Le'Veon Bell.
Well, the likelihood of a running back getting injured is so much higher. I don't know what the statistics are, but it's got to be up there as far as like it being very likely that you get injured. I mean, Derrick Henry, I think, has been like the only one that hasn't really gotten.
And he still has gotten injured. It's more about the tread on the tires here. And Tori, we see you. Excited about Barkley, hyped to have him in Philly. The fit makes sense, but to your point, Brad, it's just going to be, it's a big deal. And if Saquon's great for those 3 years, then everyone's going to say absolutely round of applause because the dude, and also
it's a big if.
No team's going to have a better quad game than Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley.
I mean, that tush push is going to be ridiculous.
But no Jason
Jason
Kelce anymore.
That's the guy that I think makes it go. And that's something I was going to bring up. It'll be interesting, Saquon all about winning, and I think he wants to go win. It's going to be interesting that every time he gets to the 1 yard line, and they're like, "Thanks, Saquon, we're pushing Jalen from here."
Yeah.
Is there a chance that Saquon is then the one pushing Jalen, or vice versa?
No, he would,
or maybe because one of their quads, they have massive quads. Maybe one of those is the center for the.
Do
play.
they hold the ball together, and they're just like a
Who gets
unit?
the ton?
For fantasy, it's just half touchdowns.
Yeah,
really screw everyone.
You know how many people though are going to stack Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts next year? But then you're also going to have this dilemma because not each one of them is not going to have the rushing touchdown. It's going to be one or the other.
You're like robbing yourself.
Yeah.
And people are, I'm going to say it right now, people are going to stack that.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be very disappointed if they do that. So we'll find out with that. On the other news, they're running back that we kind of swiped over for a second. Gus Edwards, Chargers, one Harbaugh to another. Hate to see him go, but
love to watch him leave.
Whoa.
The wheels on the bus.
No, I think it's a good move for both sides.
You got to think for Gus's bus.
But I do think going back to Greg Roman was a great idea for Gus. I think that's just for both sides. That makes the most sense.
And I'm just going to throw this out there for Ravens fans. If Blake Corum's still available, I think if Jim Harbaugh takes Gus, Blake Corum is getting drafted by the Ravens. I still believe Blake Corum ends up with a Harbaugh. I'm like just set on that in the draft. You can't convince me otherwise. Aaron Jones is part of the Josh Jacobs move then, just the people in the carousel.
Yeah.
He is now no longer with the Packers, right? They're moving on.
Yeah.
That's the sources.
And apparently quickly, meaning both sides are or there's been interest. Teams have contacted Aaron Jones and they believe that a deal could come rather fast in that area.
Is there any sort of reports on who?
No, I'm not. It was just, I think it was.
No, I mean, I'd assume.
It was Josina was tweeting.
I'd assume it's like there's like 3 teams I'm looking at for running backs right now. It's Baltimore, it's Houston, and it's Dallas.
I really hope we don't. I see we as a Ravens fan. I just don't want Aaron Jones.
It's just the
Don't
injuries.
want- Yeah, like every year we have a running back that just gets 2 games in and then is out for the season.
Well, and I think the thing with that too is Keaton's also coming back from an injury, so there's no
That's my
guarantee he
point.
plays in the middle of the season until the middle of the season. So if you're
Justice Hill has had injuries,
Yeah,
so like I just
All right, so we'll see Blake Corum in Baltimore, unless Derrick Henry signs,
Yeah.
and Derrick Henry's still out there. So
you're on the Blake Corum train 1,000%. You're pushing that thing.
I am pushing it because it just feels like he's meant to play with a Harbaugh.
Yeah.
One Harbaugh took the other Harbaugh's running back, and the Ravens are going to need a running back if Derrick Henry doesn't sign with the Ravens. So you're looking at it and going, what are you going to do? It just feels like it could be a part of that. J.K. Dobbins, then it'll be interesting to see if Henry goes somewhere else and Aaron Jones goes somewhere else. Does J.K. come back on a cheap deal? I don't know. Who knows? I hope the best for J.K. no matter what. But Aaron Jones, I think for the Ravens, what they need is they need a guy that's going to be more of a bruising presence.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the need. And that's why we're saying Derrick Henry seems like he can still be in play if the price is right. Dallas apparently is in on that. Oh, yeah. Tony Pollard to the Titans. Like all these running back moves happened today, except Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to figure out what's going to happen. And I guess, Zach Moss, I don't know if that, to me, that wouldn't move the needle on it. I think he had a great year when he had the opportunities with Jonathan Taylor out. But I think the Ravens, they could use him as a depth piece, no doubt about it. But unless the Ravens go and get like a Derrick Henry or they draft a guy, I don't think it's going to look.
timeout.
Yeah.
Okay. Just had to do that for the Zach Morris reference.
Did I say Zach Morris?
Nope. Somebody in the comments did, and I put it on the screen.
Aha. Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you doing that.
Nobody else gets that, I guess, but
I have a former teammate named Zach Morris, lefty pitcher.
Saved by the Bell. That's great. Every morning I got up and watched Saved by the Bell before school.
I did not. It's a great show. Never really watched it though.
What?
I didn't.
Man,
I've nothing but good. I have nothing bad to say about it. And maybe you can put that in there.
that sounds like a good poll right now.
That might sound like a good poll. So you can get to that poll. And if you guys are just tuning in here, we were recapping a little bit of earlier on just some Ravens related moves. So, and also hit that like and subscribe button. Ron Ripken Show. We do this every Thursday. We might change up the 6 p.m. time in the future, but for now, we're doing our show at 6 p.m. We did our special stream earlier, so you can go back and watch that. We're not going to put that on the audio level on the podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple because of it just is so much shit out there, and it's kind of going to be dated to the moment. One other news that we'll just touch on too. Kirk Cousins to Atlanta was just a fascinating one. That's not even Ravens related, but Captain Kirk going there, that's a massive move. And I'm sure the Ravens and Ravens fans are going to have a lot more to talk about here.
Still not the best team in the NFC South.
I know you are all on the Baker bandwagon, and rightfully so. Baker did some tremendous things last year.
Mike Evans. Who's Kirk Cousins got to throw to down there?
He's
Drake
got
London, Kyle Pitts, and
Bijan Robinson.
about it.
I'm trying to think who else is on that Falcons wide receiving core.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
well, we're going to find out here soon.
Oh, they have Van Jefferson.
Oh yeah, they traded for him.
Wrong Jefferson.
They're winning the Super Bowl. They got
Poor-
Van Jefferson.
Poor Tyler Algier just had such a great rookie year, and then they just drafted Bijan.
Yeah,
Well,
they did that with Hayden Hurst too. They had Hayden, and they drafted Kyle Pitts and said, "Get out of here, Hayden. You're done." So
Brad Bozeman's also a free agent, by the way.
So Brad,
Yeah.
that's what I meant to ask Nick about with Bradley Bozeman, and he was playing center. But obviously, the Ravens don't need a center. Could there be a reunion in Baltimore? Maybe
As a
guards got paid too. By the way,
yeah, he can play
and,
guard.
and one of the guards though that hasn't been paid either was Kevin Zeitler, if I'm not mistaken. Right, he's still out there.
Yeah,
Kevin,
still out there. Yep.
So Zeitler, Bozeman, could there be some reunions back to Baltimore? Who's to say?
Could
but-
be.
Can you imagine that line? Holy shit.
It would just be that's going to be a very big talking point for the Ravens. Obviously, as you're going to continue to ramp up your offensive line. That's for every team, especially with how dominant some of these defenses in the AFC North are going to be. The Browns, the Steelers, and the Bengals are still a solid D. What do you got, Kevin?
Well, we also got the particulars on Gus Edwards' deal. I don't think that's been reported yet, or at least I hadn't seen on NFL Network. They said he got about 3.5 annually, 2 years, $7 million. So
Good for him.
Solid deal for Gus. Solid deal.
Good for him. And that means also Austin Eckler is not back, and there's apparently interest for him going to Vegas now because
That would be hilarious.
There's a hole over there.
Yeah, Sean Merriman said he would. He's not afraid to block Austin Eckler.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
He said, I will block you if he goes there.
Sean Merriman, friend of the show, he's excited about the Gus Edwards move.
He was hyped
as
about
well.
that.
Super hyped about it. All right. Did you put up that first poll to start
Not
off,
yet.
Brad? Or
Nope.
you're getting there?
I was
We'll get to
distracted.
more of the polls. Oh, that's okay. We'll get to more of the polls here in a second. We got a lot of baseball to talk about here as well. A lot. And specifically because the number one overall prospect in Major League Baseball, or MILB.
How's he doing?
He's doing okay, to say the least. I think he's doing okay. The drum is beating significantly louder for Jackson Holliday to be the opening day second baseman for the Orioles. And we've been on the show here saying talent has never been an issue with Jackson. It's just the reality was Jackson Holliday going to be almost perfect where he forces the hand of the Orioles. Because I felt like if it was anything kind of less, it gives them the excuse to say, hey, take your time. And quite frankly, that's what it was looking to start off.
It was.
Yeah, and explain to me again. So this is kind of what we thought with Gunnar, right? Like, isn't there like a point in which the Orioles cannot start Jackson Holliday, but he still can play as a rookie if they start him a little bit later in the season? But then there's like the arbitration side of it. So like,
it's
isn't
like
there
August.
a business?
It's like August.
Yeah,
It's
so-
late August.
So the business side of that as well. So first off, you get awarded a comp pick now.
Yeah,
All right.
so-
after the first round, if your player wins Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
Okay?
so pretty much I looked this up yesterday in a Twitter discussion. So after in the 2022 lockout, or when they did renegotiate the CBA, it was pretty much the Chris Bryant rule, because that was the big name that was pretty much the Cubs abused the system and kept him down for a certain amount of time. So the new CBA kind of eliminates the whole, okay, we keep him here for 2 weeks to save his time. And
Yeah.
that just is, this is only going to be the, second year that's even in place. Because last year was the first time you could get a first round pick for your guy winning Rookie of the Year if he's on opening day. So they're now pushing for players to come on to start opening day.
So I was thinking with like Corbin Carroll last year.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll was the example of it, and he wins it. Now for Gunnar's case is that when he came up the prior year,
Corbin did that too.
Corbin did that as well. So both of them to be eligible. Sorry, you're right on that. He came up the year before, but to be eligible for all of this,
Mhm.
you can't pass a certain threshold of at bats in the big league. So Gunnar and Corbin, but specifically we're talking about with Gunnar here, Gunnar didn't reach that threshold of at bats. So therefore it didn't last year, or 2022 did not count as his rookie season. So the Orioles were still in play to get that pick because Gunnar would be a rookie in 2023. Now that's going to be the case with Jackson in the sense, if you hope he wins Rookie of the Year, then you hope to have him out there on the first game, because it's going to be much harder to do that if he's coming up in May, unless the dude just smacks 30 homers and takes it, which he very well is capable of being you've seen it. He looks like a star. But here's the thing that I meant to talk about, and I want people to understand this. And do you have a pull up on Jackson Holliday?
I do. So, and surprisingly, as we continue this conversation, I want more people to vote on this, but it's 50-50. It's a deadlock on the question of whether or not Jackson Holliday is a lock on opening day.
You know what? And so this is the fascinating discussion here, because so many young players, by the way, are playing well down in spring training. But the biggest notice is for Jackson Holliday because of the number one overall status.
Yeah. And the other thing that I just real quick about the whole coming up of opening day, I think the other thing is, if you think he's going to win Rookie of the Year, if he wins Rookie of the Year no matter what, if he starts on opening day or doesn't, he is rewarded one less year on his contract no matter what. So he gets to go to free agency a year earlier. So that's why it would be in the Orioles' interest to have him on opening day. So if he finishes and gains that year that off his contract, the Orioles get a first round pick for it.
Was the pick that they got for Gunnar winning the pick they traded to Milwaukee
Yes.
for Burns?
Mhm.
That was that pick? Okay.
Yeah. You can only trade, or was that Well, you can trade competitive.
It was a
round.
it was a comp pick, yeah.
So I'm not sure if it was specifically that one or if it was the one that they get every other year for being a small market.
Yeah, I think the biggest part on that of just the pick, if you have a really good farm system or you draft really well, which the Orioles have done recently, getting an extra top pick in the draft is so massive. So in this case, though, let's talk about with Jackson Holliday. I said earlier in this conversation, I thought he was going to have to be near perfect or force the hand of the Orioles. And early on, it didn't seem like that was going to be the case just because he got off to a slow start the first 2 games. And it's 2 games. Spring training, it doesn't, in that case, who cares, right? But for guys trying to make the team, every little at-bat matters. Colton Cowser's at-bats matter. Kobe Mayo at-bats matter.
Stud.
But Jackson Holliday now, it's gotten to a point. It's not just like, maybe we'll see. He's really forcing the hands at the moment.
Yeah.
And so
how many more extra base hits does he need?
And I'm gonna dive into a little bit on his swing at the end of just these spring training at bats so people can understand of what's so impressive that he's doing at his age. But he's gotten into a groove. He's driving the baseball to all parts of the field. And now you're really looking at it going, can the Orioles really have any reason to keep him off the roster? Only with the fact of him saying that they want him to have more time.
As much as I am on the Jackson Holliday has to be up on opening day no matter what side of it now, I put out my new updated confidence rankings, and I'm at 90% sure he makes the team. Ryan, you've talked about this and preached it. The only way Jackson Holliday should be on the major league roster is if he is playing every single day. There should not be this, okay, we're going to bring him up, get his feet wet, and then we're going to start him off as a utility. He'll play 3 to 4 times a week. It is one of those things where if he is on opening day roster, he should be playing 5 to 6 days a week.
I agree.
Yeah.
I 1,000% agree on that.
You don't put him on the roster just to sit him, right? You have the talent there. He's done his stuff, and we're speaking of one Burns to the other Burns.
Yeah.
So you saw that too. Do you want to
Brian
that one?
Yeah, real quick. Brian Burns traded from the Panthers to the Giants, and not only traded, he lands a 5-year, $150 million with $87.5 million guaranteed, becomes the second highest paid defensive end in the league.
Holy shit.
Carolina gets a 2nd and a 5th.
So not only do they send a high draft pick, they also pay him all. And he's really Brian Burns is one of the better pass rushers in this league. But you send the high draft pick and you sign him to that huge contract. Giants are doubling down on whoever their quarterback's going to be, whether it's Daniel Jones coming back from that injury or not. But Burns, I didn't expect Giants, but that's a quality move.
Well, I mean, I think that what they're trying to revamp is that, last year in their games, their defense actually had some really good moments. Offensively, it was a mess, and they have a lot to figure out on what's happening on that side. So Brian Burns, I know a lot of people were hoping he'd go to Baltimore, but again, that's a lot of money. You just paid Matabike, and you're seeing you can get some great players on a great deal, or you can call it a discount, like a Jadeveon Clowney, like a Kyle Van Noy this past season, but so much still is on the horizon to try to figure out.
And just because Mina Kimes just brought it up, so they get a 2nd and a 5th for Brian Burns. In 2022, the Rams offered them 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick.
Such a fumble.
For Brian Burns, and Carolina declined it because they wanted to keep him as the centerpiece of their defense. And now here we are, not even 2 years later, and they got him for a second. They send him away for a 2nd and a 5th.
That's crazy.
Speaking of the Giants, former Raven alert, Jermaine Illuminor signed with the Giants as well. 2 years,
good guy.
$14 million.
He was he's from England. I don't think he
England,
played football for a while until he was older, and then obviously was drafted by the Ravens. So he's a cool story.
Why the hell can't MLB free agency be like this?
Our free agency stream technically didn't even stop. We're just doing it again.
Yeah, and I know for my language, and I know this is we don't try to curse all at the same time, but what the fuck is happening? Why Russell Wilson played for the Denver Broncos and then got released from the Broncos and then signed with a different team before
and he
Blake
made two
Snell
visits.
Made two visits. But the thing is, the free agency opened in MLB in November.
Yeah.
Denver Broncos quarterback at the time, Russell Wilson, was playing for the Denver Broncos. Blake Snell is not on a Major League Baseball team, and the World Series ended and opened up the
The
free
first-
agency opened up in November.
First game is less than 10 days away for the opener of all of MLB out in where are they doing it this year? Is it in Japan?
It's Korea.
Korea. Yeah. So it weirdly they start that like more than a week before everything else. But yeah, literally opening day for the entire league is like 9 days away. And I would say arguably, if you take out Yamamoto and the guys that came over from other leagues, just Montgomery and Snell, two of the top pitchers on the market, are still out there.
Well, and teams that can make a drastic difference, but now they're not going to be ready when camp breaks. They're probably going to stay down in Florida, and that's okay. That's all a part of it. And that's just what we have to do. And apparently, Jason, I don't know what the hell happened there, but apparently you're out breaking Snell news and trashing Jackson Holliday. And that's funny because Jason's point was saying he wasn't sure if he was going to make the opening day team for the same reasons that people brought up.
Yeah.
It's not trashing Jackson Holliday. I don't think someone actually wrote to me on the first stream today. He goes, "Are you have the apologist out for Jackson Holliday? Who the hell said that Jackson Holliday isn't a stud and is going to be a stud for 10 years?"
Right.
Dude did not stay on this panel. Kevin, you have something to say?
No.
No? Okay, good. Just making sure.
Kevin, you got some dumb shit to say.
I can't see the chat. My computer isn't working right now. What?
No, I was saying
Holy
that
shit.
people said that in the past, but no, none of us are saying that. It's just really about the timing of what happens with Jackson Holliday. So we're going to have to see what happens here. Don's back on. Don recognized what we've done. Don, round of applause for Don. And we know Kevin better.
I know I'm ready. I'm ready. For
I don't know. Are you ready? Are you ready? There you go. Good job.
Kevin Oyster Striker isn't clapping.
Yeah, so with Don, we appreciate the donation. This is Ryan and the guys. Great second stream. Thank you for joining us again. I'm sitting watching the stream with my wife and is stoked because she loved your dad. Well, that makes one of us, Don.
He's still alive. He's still alive, by the way.
He is. He is. She asked your name. I told her your name was Cal Jr. Jr. Kevin Oyster Striker isn't clapping.
Yeah.
That was the exact
clap.
Clap, god damn it.
So you guys are good kids. And so is Jackson Holliday. And actually getting the chance to see him up close and personal. I heard someone also say that, and I know Houston, you're right. I will be leading the We Want Jackson chance on opening days if they keep him on the roster. The Orioles have a lot of decisions that they got to make, and it's going to be tough. You're not going to keep all these young players. I did see one comment here earlier about Jorge Mateo, Sean. Sean asked, or his comments, I think not seeing Mateo in the outfield much and Wong playing a lot means Mateo isn't the lock that we thought. Look, the Orioles love Jorge Mateo's still versatility. I don't think it necessarily means that he's not a lock to make the roster, or that's going to, stop him from playing in the outfield or whatever it's going to be because of the intangibles that he has. I'm not saying the consistency hasn't been there all the time for Mateo, but he is still a great defender. He's fast as hell on the base paths, and the Orioles have always loved the skill set. Now, something's going to have to give down the road here as we figure things out. And Tori, you're right. There are so many good problems to have for this ball club. We'll dive into more of that on what's happened down there so far. But Brad, for fun, I think we have a fun pull up now that I want you to explain.
Yeah. So, we've had some pretty good ones lately. I feel like this is another good one, and y'all can, add yours in if it's not listed here. But I asked the best ballpark food is.
Ooh.
And the options so far on the poll are hot dog, peanuts, sunflower seeds, and the old ice cream in a helmet.
Oh,
64% so far. The votes are still coming in, but 64% say hot dog. And
I
now,
think that's just a classic.
That's a classic.
but
Yep,
not
gonna say
one
that.
vote for sunflower seeds.
Okay, no one probably on this panel, especially more sunflower seeds than your boy in the dugout, and how many times just being at the field. But I'm also in the field of play, down there. So we just have seeds galore, and you're doing who the hell knows what with those seeds. As far as I'm not going to stop there. That's not what I meant. We'll save that for Rip after dark.
That is not a story
I don't
for
even
here.
know how that would.
Oh, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Kevin, do you really want to know the answer to that question?
We have to put it behind a paywall, apparently, if it's that good of a story.
We will have to. Austin, with this, hot dog is the only answer. It's not even close. I think it is just a staple at a ballpark. It really is. I will say ice cream just hits different when it's in a baseball helmet at a stadium.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is anywhere else. It's electric.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Tori, she says she will die on the Peanuts Hill.
Well, I'm
Okay, so
Time out, Jack.
Yeah, nobody's going around and giving theirs yet. I mean, Ryan just, I guess, I'm assuming you're going with the ice cream.
I think that's a guilty pleasure, but I think hot dog's more of the staple.
Okay.
That would be mine. Go ahead, Brad.
Oh yeah, I was gonna go hot dog too.
Okay, Zach, because then we'll save.
I'm gonna go. So okay, if I'm at the game,
yeah,
I think I'm gonna go peanuts for the sheer part of like you can have it throughout the game. Like, it's something, but like obviously, like I think hot dog, like I'm gonna get a hot dog while I'm there, but also like if I want to enjoy some peanuts throughout the game, I think that's fun.
Okay. Do we dare want to know what yours is,
I'll
Kevin?
give some backstory. I mean, I'm definitely allergic to peanuts, so my
Okay,
answer is
well.
of course peanuts. But no, out of those options, I'll go hot dog. But give me a box of popcorn and a ballpark lemonade, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, see, the lemonade is definitely a clutch at the ballpark.
They put something else in there. They might put crack in that. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
I wouldn't be
in
shocked.
there.
I wouldn't be shocked.
That also hits differently at a
It
ballpark.
does. It 100% does. A beer does too. Just, I don't know.
I think a beer. Oh,
It's also like $10.
Oh,
if
that's-
you're lucky.
Well, in this economy, it definitely is. Chip is saying a corn dog is greater than a hot dog.
I agree with
okay.
that. I agree. Corn dog is one of my favorite foods.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense, Kevin.
I'm not knocking that a corn dog can't be good, but I'm still taking my dog, man, the regular dog.
Plain.
If you go,
Yeah, probably plain at this point.
if
With
you
no
go
skin.
pound for pound of just like everything said on the show, Kevin has just some of the wildest.
I got some
things said.
heavy hitters in there.
Every time Kevin speaks, there's a reason, and you're like, "Why did you say it?"
I also should have guessed that he's allergic to peanuts.
You should. Yeah. Oh, you so look like someone who's allergic to peanuts.
I got my fashion statement. I don't have to wear this bracelet anymore at work because it's a bracelet. But this is my bracelet.
Oh yeah, you have an EpiPen on you at all times.
Oh yeah. I got it in my
Wait,
bag
does that
right now.
bracelet say?
Yeah, it says I'm allergic. I wear it because it's a fashion statement, not because I'm allergic to peanuts. But
That's a fashion statement.
yes.
Does it list
Take
off
take
all
your
of them?
fashion advice from
Oh.
Kevin, ladies and
Wait,
gentlemen.
wait. So,
should.
time out for a second. Does it actually say the allergies that you have on there? Like, I'm genuinely
No, it
curious.
says
now.
peanuts and byproducts, and then it gives the number to the bracelet manufacturer, not the number you should call from Diamond.
911.
Okay. So I thought
They're on the phone with the bracelet operator. What do we do? Well, you should probably call 911.
you want to buy a bracelet, by the way?
Yeah, so what's the point? I thought, like, so if you knock out or pass out, what's wrong with this man? Oh, he's
Well,
got
it's-
his bracelet
the,
on.
The actual bracelet was when I was younger, like
Okay.
the actual use of the bracelet.
Okay.
But I wear it because I have worn it I haven't taken this off in probably like 10 years. Like it has not left this wrist in probably 10 years.
He
I
is
shower
a
with it
corn
on.
dog, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yes, and Kevin does
And so
have
I
some wild
I
takes.
shake my wrist because it gets up on my wrist. And so I shake it back. And so I naturally, like even with the bracelet off, I shake the
What?
wrist to get it back.
You
The
shake your
phantom
wrist.
bracelet.
Shake.
Yeah, exactly. A phantom bracelet.
Okay, this
Jason,
is-
I'm curious as to what this actually means. He says there's only one right answer, and nobody has said it yet.
Jason, what is your answer then? Please let us know in the comments
Is it a
here.
Like, is it
hamburger?
Cracker Jacks?
I can't have those.
Do
Like,
they
is
even
it,
sell Cracker Jacks at the ballpark
Yeah.
anymore?
Is it cotton
They do.
candy? Maybe cotton candy.
I can't. I'll be honest. I don't remember the last time I've had cotton candy.
I don't either. But
I'm
trying
not
to
a
think
huge fan of
also,
cotton
like,
candy.
just
Yeah.
what I'm trying to think what Jason could say we missed.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Oh, is Jason talking about Boogs? Well, that's like it's a specialty. Like to
But like
Baltimore,
generally speaking,
hey, and if that's the case, it's one of one, right? It's
Yeah.
one of one at Camden Yards. But I
Mhm.
think that is kind of the thing is you're not going to get that at every ballpark, So
Yeah.
that's where we're going at it. You
Right.
might not get that good barbecue somewhere else, You might not, but you will get a good dog at most ballparks. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you would get one, I
Yeah.
guess I should say.
Yeah. That's like saying that I don't know, they have Jimmy's now has like all the crap stuff.
yeah. But if when you at first said it, I was just gonna go right to Jimmy's because they're it's like crab fries, incredible.
Oh yeah, the crab fries, ridiculous.
Yeah. There's so many more things.
Roll
Oh,
downs.
wait a minute, Jason. This makes a great point, and we'll move on with our
Oh, that's what
program.
he's saying. Yeah,
Where's the love for
Oh.
the soft pretzel?
that is a good
point.
one.
Good point.
I used to crush it. There actually
Yeah.
was the ice cream helmet and the pretzels growing up at Camden Yards right next to each other. It was
Yep.
And it's
Yep.
in the
Best
shape
place
of
to
the
be.
O, isn't it? They're all the O.
I believe they were. Yeah. I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah, I was
since
gonna say I don't remember, but back in the day,
That's also another one that I haven't had in forever.
Yeah,
Pretzel.
me neither.
No idea when I had that one last.
All right, so I might have to have some more. I was wondering if 5 Iron had that today.
Time to get fat at the yard.
Well, we might have to. We also were doing a little bit of brainstorming over at 5 Iron.
Yep.
Testing it out, seeing what was going on. A lot of fun, and it was very simple, even though it was very hectic. Not because of it was very relaxed. We enjoyed our time.
Shout out 5 Iron.
Shout out 5 Iron. It was mainly because all the news was happening around the NFL free agency,
Yeah.
and then we had to get our source, Nick Moore, about the one information that was out there that was not accurate. Now it's just completely inaccurate because it did not happen. That was Will Lutz is going back to the Broncos and not the Jaguars. If you guys have any questions about Orioles here, what do you got?
Breaking news.
Oh no.
Why didn't Nick call us? Is what I want to know.
What? Wait.
Nick, is that what this is?
No, you scroll down.
Oh shit. I was like, what the fuck did he really sign? Okay.
No, Brad, I think you saw. Do you see the extension?
Yeah,
tweet?
yeah.
When we were talking about Nick's extension earlier, I put the tweet in so we could see what the comments were saying.
I was like,
that was a tweet from
What?
last year.
He's like, I was gonna say, damn. How come your boy didn't call us up?
oh yeah, if he would have signed a contract and didn't tell us,
Yeah.
he
I'd have been
saw
like-
in the chat Nick Moore.
Yeah,
we
yeah, I
signed Nick Moore. Yeah,
Sorry, my bad, fellas.
That's okay, but that's just how much excitement we have for Nick Moore. And
Yeah, I was like about ready to jump up and down.
we need everyone. Nick Moore, Ravens 2024 Pro Bowl
Yes.
vote starts here for everyone out there. Just like everyone is talking about Jackson Holliday for Rookie of the Year, we're getting our Nick Moore Pro Bowl started. And how about this? Let's talk a little bit more Orioles here for a second because Mike Bauman, Big Mike, Dirty Mike in the boys, whatever you want to consider him. He's Eddie asked here, do you think Mike Bauman stays in his same role for 2024 or does he move into a spot starter role? Well, first off, Big Mike is whoever comes up he faces, they go right back down, right? He's been 13 for 13 now, Zach, for
Yeah.
Big Mike.
Yeah, he's gotten all. Let me try to find the tweet, but yeah, Rock Kabako put out that he has retired every single batter he has faced so far this year. And I will say, don't know a lot about baseball. If you get everyone out, it seems like that's a good thing.
I think the goal is if you get people out and they don't score, you usually do well and you win. Most times, the team that does that more than the other team usually wins.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because Mike Bauman graced himself on the this should be the superstition right here, the casting couch, as he calls it.
Yes, and I think that might be the space. And Kevin,
You're slumping. If there's no player out there slumping, they need to come out here on the casting couch where Kevin's at.
I don't know if I'm going to be here.
We'll change your life.
I don't.
You know what? Actually,
I'm not going to change anybody.
You know what? Timeout, Kevin. When Mike comes back, we'll have Mike get right on that couch, and you can just be right there. Casting couch.
Great,
Kevin.
great.
Listen, Mike called it the casting couch. He's the one that named it.
Oh, he's a good kid, and guess what? He's got great stuff. I've been a Big Mike believer for a while. I'm going to do a breakdown on Big Mike here because I don't think people understand what the Orioles still do have. Dylan Tate is coming back this year, and it was Mike's first year as a full reliever in the big leagues. He's been a starter his entire career, and when he got called up, he did the starter / piggyback role. And for players like Bruce Zimmerman does that a lot to give people context now, where Bruce will start games and then he'll piggyback the starting pitcher, meaning he'll be like the long guy.
Yeah.
So I think that Mike deserves a lot of your attention because the dude's got nasty stuff. And the dude has the ability to continue to get better. He's a unit, by the way. He could play tight end physically as big as he is, but that's a name you're going to want to monitor, especially in this bullpen. The Orioles are having some good problems, and I think they're going to shore up and surprise a lot of people. I think Mike is at the top of that list.
Did we break him down yet?
No, we haven't yet. But I did show one video of him striking out Bo Bichette, and it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And it was his gyro curve. I got to confirm that with him. And I'm like, that makes sense. But I still said that, dude, that's disgusting. But that's what Mike has the ability to do. He has the ability to put out the best hitters in baseball. The thing for him, just like a lot of pitchers, as you move to the next level, how do you sustain and how do you get comfortable in your role? But Mike might be asked to do a lot of the similar roles that it was last year. Maybe he has to give you 2 or 3 innings, or maybe, hey, Mike, get this one batter. He inherited at one point of the season the most runners in Major League Baseball. That means he came into the game or relieved the pitcher with the most men on base over a duration of the first couple months of the season. So Big Mike is in for a big year, and we're hopefully in for a big year here on the Ryan Ripken Show. By the way, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We do this every Monday and Thursday. We might be adding more to the plate as we get closer to the baseball season, and it should be a very, very exciting time. Before we actually, do we want to talk a little bit more about?
I think we have a New York Yankees.
That's where I was about to go next. I think that this is related to the Orioles, and it's very significant if you're a Yankee or a Oriole fan. And that's the fact that there was an MRI. There's a report from Jeff Passan that here it is. Jeff Passan tweets, Yankees ace Garrett Cole will have an MRI on his right elbow. Manager Aaron Boone told reporters today, Cole is coming off winning the American League Cy Young Award and has had difficulty bouncing back between spring training starts, Boone said. This is a massive concern. If we're going to talk about panic meter for the Yankees,
that's up there.
That's way up there, especially with the fact that so far in its spring training, but Rodon hasn't gotten off to a great start in spring training. But to lose the best pitcher, not just on your team
in baseball,
in the league. I mean, and the Yankees don't have much depth at pitching, correct?
No. Nope.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, going into the season, I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if the Yankees ended up winning the division. If Cole goes out and he's out for a while, forget that. It'll be the Orioles' division to lose.
The Yankees thing this year, and we've talked about it, was they had Garrett Cole, and then it was 4 question marks. And when you get rid of Garrett Cole, it throws everything up because Rodon, Nestor Cortez, those guys, they're expecting big things from them, but they're having injury history. They're always, there's that concern. So now all of a sudden you have your top 3 starters are injury concerns. So that really devastates the Yankees if they lose him for any amount of time.
Not good.
And on paper, though, you're right. Rodon should be better, but since he signed the deal, he's been injured and hasn't had a chance to prove himself. This is a big prove it year. He seems healthy at the moment. But Nestor Cortez, what happened with
Austin Eckler is going to the Commanders.
What?
Zach,
wow.
Zach is
Okay.
celebrating. I'm sorry, you need to clip that one.
All right, we will jump right back into that in a second with the news. With in football, of course, this happens the whole day, right? It naturally does. But for the Yankees, Nestor Cortez, when he's healthy, has proven that he's an all-star caliber pitcher. Carlos Rodon, his track record is able to do quite a lot. But it's what are you going to do now when you're bouncing back from an injury? Yeah. And for Garrett Cole specifically, that's that anchor of the staff. Just like everyone was complaining last year, the Orioles didn't have enough. And the Orioles, Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez turned out to be a great 1-2 punch. But then this is, again, we think that a healthy Bradish and healthy Grayson Rodriguez, taking out Burns before, those guys could be Cy Young candidates. Those guys can be all-stars.
Oh, my God.
But Garrett Cole specifically, this is a dude that has been that. He's been there. He's done that. And he is that lifeline of that Yankees pitching staff. And that is going to be a massive, massive situation to monitor for New York fans, Oriole fans, and no one's feeling bad about it. It's a part of it. The Orioles are going to miss out on Felix Bautista for this year. Kyle Bradish is dealing with his injury, which we've also said, do not hold your breath on an injury like that with his elbow. Hopefully we'll figure it out. So time will tell. Time will tell with the Yankees. But Brad, it's interesting. If Garrett Cole misses, it'll be interesting to see what the odds makers will do in the future.
They'll still have the Yankees winning the division because they're the Yankees, and that's what the odds makers will do. Vegas is just going to always, put them first until something extreme happens, which you would have thought that the way that the Orioles played last year would have been something to push them closer to the top. But, the Orioles, I guess, just gonna have to do it again. I think a lot of the narrative right now is just that last year was more of a fluke than anything. So they always go out there and prove that it isn't. I think that people are gonna have to listen at that point. But yeah, the Yankees, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. I almost kind of put them winning the division, but without depth at pitching like that, and with those guys being out, I don't know how that happens.
Not having Garrett Cole, but then Brandon asked this question: will this force the Yankees to go get Snell?
Probably.
No, it is. This is
why wouldn't it?
Unfortunately, if Garrett Cole goes down with a major injury, Scott Boras won. This is exactly what he was hoping, is that a team would have an injury in spring training and then they were going to have to go pay his players.
That
And
Blake
this is
Snell's
exact-
Scott Boras guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Snell,
so is
Montgomery.
so one of those guys feels like they'd be in play to go to New York, Snell or Montgomery, if this injury is something that's going to be more
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah.
And Jason was even saying that they also announced Judge's fatigue, so Yankees Twitter is on fire. I'm not worried about Aaron Judge; he should be fine. The Yankees lineup, I actually think, is going to be pretty solid. I really do.
Oh yeah,
But
the bats are
pitching-
going to be ridiculous. Though.
Pitching at the end of the day is going to be the biggest discussion. Does your pitching hold up? And when you're in the American League East and you have these lineups, even in the American League period, you're competing with the other teams to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be challenging because Texas, it proves that they can bang and hit the ball. You have the Astros that aren't going away. The Mariners are still on that upswing. Oh, and then by the way, the rest of the AL East, even though Boston's kind of behind on that sense, the Yankees, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, it's going to be in the race. Like I haven't even mentioned Tampa because Tampa just finds ways. Tampa's probably the only team that can have star players be out and still find a way. They really have been. So
That's crazy.
time will tell.
Tampa could lose their entire roster in like free agency offseason, and they would show up with 26 of those most random dudes, and 3 of them would be competing for the Cy Young.
Mhm.
And
Us three. Us
yeah,
three.
it could literally be us, and they will turn us into Cy Young kid. What the Rays can do with pitching is incredible.
It is crazy, yeah.
It's incredible.
I
You can just never count them out.
Well, I got to see it firsthand. They shoved it right up my ass, especially in AAA. It was not fun. They literally
Stuffed it up your ass.
they literally did.
That's Rip After Dark right there.
Well, I mean, and again, that's baseball reference. If someone is shoving, and I just added that last part in, but it's true. Like we'd watch these guys. Like one of those guys was Rasmussen for the Rays, and he got traded over from the Brewers, and then he's just pumping 102. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this right now? And then he's got an absolute banger, or like, and it's just, and banger mean just good off speed pitches. So it's just very.
Did you ever get a knockoff of somebody that you didn't expect to get a knockoff of?
Well, I mean, there's quite a few of those, I guess. I remember one, not in this case. You always feel like you can go up there and hit against somebody. I remember one, we were playing down in Durham, and first game in Durham, I hit a changeup off Luis Patino, I think, for the Rays. They have one of the worst batter's eyes when the sun's going down early in the game. So like first or second inning, blind. If he threw a heater, I would have missed it. Ball would have been in the glove. They would have been throwing it around the field, and I still would have swung. Like I would have swung that late. And he threw me a changeup. I stuck my ass out and hit it off like a one hopper to the right field wall for an RBI. Humble brag, and then I just sucked the rest of the way. But that was kind of a moment where I'm like, I literally cannot see the baseball. And if you throw this one pitch, this is what will happen. But you'll be surprised. Pitchers will outsmart themselves. And it's vice versa. Hitters get in their own head, pitchers get in their own head. But in some of those cases, it's like, man, if he had looked at what my swings were earlier in the at bat, I would have just blown a fastball right by me. So that's an example of it. And it happens to a lot of guys. I remember my dad said the same thing. I think it was like with Scott Erickson. He said when they were teammates, but before that they were faced against each other. And he's like, if Scott just threw me a sinker in every single time, there was 0% chance I was going to hit that baseball. So then I'm like, I'm just going to hope he throws a slider, and he did. And my dad didn't miss it. So it's funny how the inners of baseball work. And you guys are going to learn more baseball lingo here, Kevin. So don't give me that bullshit. You saying stuff. Actually, it was Zach, not you.
Thank you.
I just giggle at the inappropriateness of baseball.
Yeah, and there's a lot of inappropriateness of baseball. But
Full sacks.
But again, you say full sacks more than anybody. We don't say the sacks are full. We say ducks on a pond.
Yeah, but on TV,
bases juiced.
On TV, they say. Gary Thorne has said the sacks are full many a time.
Well, maybe we'll get Gary on one time to talk about his sayings.
Whoa. Yeah. Did not know what you were about to say there. And I was like, what are we saying?
Yeah, grow up. And for everyone else here, appreciate you joining us, the Ryan Ripken Show. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel, or if you're on X, hit that follow button. It's at Ryan Ripken, at Chaos Striker 34, at Own the Chaos for Brad, and at Zach Bollinger 18. We got a lot of them. Obviously, we have no Rocco DeSangro tonight. Rocco will be back. He's our other member. We had Nick Moore on earlier, but Nick is not on X.
Good
but
kid.
that might be changing. Very good kid. And he has now become the new Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter of the group. Before we dive more into, do we want to stay with some Orioles, or do you want to explain a little bit more about the Austin Eckler news that just broke?
Well, yeah, Austin Eckler got a 2-year deal. Let me pull up the direct. I believe it's close to 15 million total.
I thought I saw
No,
11.
No, it's only up to 11.43 million.
The disparity in contracts here is quite wild.
Because
If we were talking a year ago, we might have been talking about Eckler in that top tier.
Oh,
And
without a doubt, we
think
would have
his,
been.
His
Yeah.
fall off was so massive this year, and
Insane.
we've seen it with the running backs.
You know what
where-
I thought was interesting? I know it was a change of GMs in this case, but at the same time, no, Tom Telesco was still the Chargers GM. He didn't want to extend Melvin Gordon, or he gave him an offer and Gordon turned it down. Was that incorrect thinking that? Because then he went to Denver.
Yes.
Right? So
That's correct.
offered an extension, and then it wasn't the money. So Gordon goes and apparently didn't get as much in that deal. I'm curious with Tom Telesco in that situation. They go, Eckler, I love you, but I'm not going to go out and pay for a back of what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And then Eckler gets hurt this year. He's battling through the injuries the entire time. And then now you're in free agency where people are wondering about your durability because of your size.
How do we not make the connection, Gus Edwards and Joe Ortiz? At least I didn't until right now.
Whoop.
So
Ooh,
I can't.
Wrong one. Oh,
the crickets.
Oh my God.
Well, there it is. Like,
That
there you go.
worked. That worked. There you go.
Yeah,
it's like
that's-
the eureka moment on the show.
Wow. Didn't even think of it.
We're going to figure out how to use this damn thing more and more
Yeah.
often as
It
we
says it has them on the thing. You see right there. It
go.
has them.
Oh, there it is. Is this the trombone? Okay.
Oh, you're you didn't like my take that much?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I didn't.
all right,
You're a good
all
kid. Yeah, Rocco's having some trouble. He's having his phone trouble. It says SOS. He did call me from, might have been his Apple Watch. I don't know what the hell it was, but he will be back in the future. All right.
Did Rocco say on Twitter that he was stuck at Verizon? How was
I think he responded. I think it was earlier in the day.
Yeah, he responded. Joe.
okay. I was like, damn, we got some real stalkers on here.
And I see Bob. Thanks for tuning in. And a lot of Orioles fans aren't feeling bad for the Yankees, by the way. Of course, don't want to see anyone get hurt, is what Bob says. But feel sorry for the Yankees, not happening in this lifetime. that runs deep. Eddie has an interesting thought here with the Orioles as we stay on that topic. Where do you think Tyler Wells falls into the rotation? And actually, Rocco and I were able to speak with Tyler Wells down in spring training. Tyler's also a friend of the Ryan Ripken Show. But if you want some more just explicit Rip and Rock content from the spring training, go check out Rip and Rock on Spotify or Apple. And Tyler Wells actually sat down and actually explained a little bit of this. But let's give you more of the context of it. The injuries are here, right? So Kyle Bradish, not going to start the season. John Means is still not playing in any games. So when you're looking at the rotation, if we're just going to count the numbers here, it's going to be Corbin Burns is going to be the opening day starter. That has been announced. Grayson Rodriguez, Dean Kramer. And then you're looking at a combination of Tyler Wells, Cole Irvin, or Julio Teheran. So that's where it seems it fits. And I do believe Tyler Wells is going to be that guy. And I think that Tyler Wells is poised to have a really good year. He had a lot of good thoughts. I mean, we've seen Tyler do some ridiculous shit on this show, guys, with talking about who knows what.
Humping dogs.
Well,
his dog
not
humping.
him,
His dog.
not him humping the dog. Brad.
Humping dog.
Oh boy.
His yeah.
Yep. I should have reworded that one.
That might be that. Well, we would have different.
People are going to
issues.
investigate Tyler after that one.
Yeah. Well, let's investigate Tyler's situation instead of the dog. Okay.
Great
So
segue.
Tyler Wells, though. Tyler Wells
Oh,
he uses changeup. He mixes his pitches very well. I think his goal is to try to get his velo up a little bit. But the biggest thing is going to be, can he feel like he can go the full season? He was the Orioles' best pitcher in the first half of the season for the starters, hands down.
Yeah.
Can he have that going into the rest of the season? But I think that's the reason why the Orioles got a guy like Julio Teheran. It's not because of Tyler Wells' situation, but Tyler Wells and Cole Irvin. And then you have Chase McDermott. That's probably that next one down in AAA that saying if he doesn't break with the team, which I don't think he will, but he's a very intriguing prospect. I think Tyler Wells is really poised to it. I think a lot of people, if you talk to these pitchers, just because the injuries are there, they don't feel they're not concerned. They are fully believing that they're going to go out there and have a lot of success. So We're going to find out what's happening here.
It's his dog that humps a lot, by the way. I saw we probably should actually clarify with that the Rip and Rock show is not explicit Tyler Wells content, but exclusive Tyler Wells content.
I agree with that. Yes, it is. It's explicit.
It's important
on
to
here.
clarify because Tyler Wells is Tyler Wells.
Tyler Wells, it's an explicit, organic, or I shouldn't say he's organic each time, but I guess unfiltered on this section of the program. But he did sit down and talk with us for a good 20, 25 minutes. And actually, a Cedric Mullins one came out here, also a friend of the program here, just came out recently. Nomadic Brian, thank you for joining in. I'm late on this, but Jackson Holliday makes a starting team. We did touch on that earlier. I think that the drum is beating louder. Zach has his percentage meter at 90%.
90. That's where we're at.
And I think for those, we're going to have to figure out what's going to happen. I think when the day comes, we'll have an opening day roster reveal live stream to kind of talk through what's going on into the decisions. But Jackson, Kobe Mayo, Colton Cowser, all these guys are really making a choice or making a push of why they could.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this little exercise. We can go around. I would say there are 4 prospects that are doing well or have some sort of a chance, we'll say, to make the team. If you had to keep 2, you put 2 on the opening day roster out of Cowser, Kerstead, Mayo, and Holliday. Who are your 2?
Jesus Christ. Who are the 2 I'm keeping?
Yeah, well, I mean, all of them you're keeping, but who makes the opening day roster?
So why don't, Zach, since we can all think about it, why don't you start?
I would, right now, I think it would have to be Cowser and Holliday. As much as I want Mayo to be on the team, I think it's going to be hard for him to find a spot and consistent at bats. And I think it's easier for them to put Holliday at second and let him take that over and have his ups and downs there. And then I think Cowser has won that last outfield spot just by the way he's playing.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree. I think those 2. I mean, Mayo's playing unreal baseball right now, but I mean, Holliday, you put him at, like Zach said, you put him at second, you just let it rock. And I think he figures it out as the season goes on. Not that he, is struggling right now. He's obviously on fire, but the fact that he is on fire, you just put him up, you keep him up, you start him, you leave him there. And then I agree with Cowser. You can't send somebody who's playing like that down right now. And so I think that even though Mayo's awesome, and I think he's really earned a spot, you can only have so many players and there's only so many spots on the final roster. And it just comes down to a numbers game, at least for this situation.
Brad, what you got?
Colton Cowser has to be the obvious one with a 1620 OPS.
Yeah.
How do you ignore that?
He's been the best hitter in the entire spring, not just for the Orioles, just in the entire spring training between the Cactus and the Grapefruit.
But if you had to guess what Kobe Mayo's was, what do you think? What would you say it was?
I'm saying it's probably close. I think Kobe consistently, I'd say he's probably 13 or 1400.
Yeah, it's probably 14.
It's at 1013. So I'm actually, nobody wants no unpopular opinion. I'm going to start Colton and I'm going to start Kobe Mayo on opening day.
So you would leave Jackson?
I would leave Jackson Holliday down.
Interesting.
If I had 2.
Yeah.
If I had 2. I mean,
so are you putting Westberg, I'm guessing, at second?
Yeah. Yep. Westberg second. And, I just, when we're looking at OPS, and I'm just going off OPS specifically, right? So like, and Kobe Mayo is just tearing the cover off the ball. The way that he just continues to just mash. And we saw that late last year too. I don't know. Just feel like it would be interesting to see those big bats up there. Not that Jackson Holliday hasn't proven himself with his bat either, but like, I don't know.
So
I think I'll put those 2 up there. It's tough. I do not envy Michael Eyes right now.
You're literally picking between 4 top 20 prospects.
Yeah. Like, what do you do?
It's what do you do? That is
why they pay Mike Elias a lot of money to make these decisions.
I mean, Jesus.
I'm just deciding, should I share?
Kobe Mayo has the same batting average as Jackson Holliday, by the way.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of these guys are proving. I also just want to point this out. This is not me trying to be this isn't a doom and gloom type of thing, but there's a reason why there's guys that perform really well in spring and they're more spring players than they are players in the regular season. That's just kind of how it all goes. Kevin, do you have a What do you have?
The Jacksonville Jaguars have stolen another Baltimore Raven. Ronald Darby to Jacksonville.
No.
2 years, $10 million max.
2 years, 10 million.
Max. So probably
Max?
incentives up to 10
Oh
million.
yeah, you know what? I can't be good for you, Ronald. That hell of a payday. He deserved that. He balled out this year. I was really hoping we were getting back on the cheap, but I guess that's not happening because Jacksonville had to prove a point after losing their kicker.
Yeah, Jacksonville was pissed, and you said, you know what? We lost Lutz. Let's go get every other player we
Yeah,
can.
they saw Nick Moore breaking the news that they weren't getting the kicker, and they're like, okay, we'll take one of your corners.
That's right.
And they did.
Petty.
So we'll dive more into that Jacksonville conversation here in a moment. But to answer, I guess I should give my two. I think Kauser there's nothing right now that you would feel that he wouldn't be the fourth outfielder for the team. And that's even with how strongly I feel about Heston Kjerstad. And I love Kjerstad too. But the point that I was trying to make with guys is that all those players having great springs are going to go out there and ball out during the regular season. But the point that I try to bring up, guys that are already in the bigs and guys that are trying to make the team, it's two different dynamics. And is that going to carry over? Because it is a small sample size.
Yes.
But all they can do is hit as well as they are, right? That's, if you're asking any of these guys, and if the Orioles, when they make these decisions, because they're not going to have everyone up, they're going to go, you've done everything possible. It just keep doing you. And at some point, you will have your opportunity in Baltimore. But I do think Kauser is on a redemption tour this year. I think that he feels more confident. Now, the thing is he going to get comfortable with those, hopefully getting every day at bats? And or though, if he's not, how do you combat that? How do you stay fresh for the season? I think
something that's important to discuss is every time Colton Kauser has gotten to a next level, it's pretty much been the exact same story. He gets to a new level, he struggles. Everyone does oh man, did Colton Kauser meet his match? Is this where it goes? And then after a few weeks, he absolutely takes off. It gets comfortable and takes over whatever level he is by storm and starts hitting 320, hitting bombs, getting RBIs. And I think last year we just saw him get to the majors and he did his usual. He struggled when he wasn't comfortable. And now this year it seems he's more comfortable at the plate. You see, I know there was a little tweak, I think, in his swing, his hand placement. And something that small, he's got confidence. And when he's swinging a confident bat, people forget something I want to point out. Colton Kauser has Heston Kjerstad's strength. This is a guy that can hit the cover off of the baseball. Now, I know Heston Kjerstad is known for his insanely long home runs and just those monster shots, but Colton Kauser is going to be up here, and he has 25, 30 home run potential.
Here's what I also say to this, just kind of further support what I'm saying. 40% of Jackson Holliday's at bats in spring training are strikeouts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
40%. So I mean, and from a defensive standpoint, it just kind of seems like an easier way to set this lineup with Kobe at third base. You put Gunnar at short, Jorge Mateo, who's also having a decent spring training, at second. That way, you're not trying to figure out.
Well, I think they put Westberg at second.
Or Westberg, yeah. Either one of them.
Westberg.
Either one of them.
Because I think they have to have Westberg in there almost every day because you don't want to ruin his development. I think he's going to take a big step this year. That's why it's so hard, because it is, do you want Westberg to get comfortable at third so you have Holliday at second? Are you okay with him being at second and bring up a Kobe Mayo? So it is going to be interesting to see what they do. I also think, if Jackson is on the team, how often do we see him play elsewhere than second? Do we see Gunnar go to third and Jackson get time at short in certain games? I think that opens up there's so much inner conversation inside this bigger conversation.
Only Holliday and Westberg have double-digit strikeouts this spring training.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you're right. It is a sample size, but I think if people are going to knock for being a young player, is when it's going to be more magnified during the season.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But if you hit 320 or 300, but again, also this is why it's a sample size. They're all capable of it, but look how many hitters hit over 300 in the big leagues, and look how many hitters hit over 300 on the Baltimore Orioles this past season.
Yep.
Right? Like, this is all exciting, but there's so many more that goes in. There's so much more that goes into this conversation. I did not have Jackson Holliday being on opening day to start the year or to start spring training. I still didn't think it after a week, but man, if he continues to just get hits down the stretch, I I think that he's got a legit shot to be on the team now because I think that he's forcing the hand. But if he's not going to start every day, I think it's going to be a waste of time. Kobe Mayo is so intriguing to me because it's kind of, they're not saying it initially, but it's, can Kobe play third? And I think he notices that. He's mentioned that, they talk about his defense because he's a big dude. Believe me, he's keeping tracks of that. He's like, you don't think I can play the position? Well, I'm going to try to prove to you. But the big thing for me is, as long as Ramon Urias is on the team as well, where does that fit in? And I think people are not going to Urias because Urias knows his damn role. I'm a utility guy. I can be ready to play when called upon, and that's very hard role to be in. You have to be okay with that. The young players, that's a lot of responsibility. Kobe Mayo is not going to be a utility guy. It's going to be playing third, going to be playing first, maybe outfield. But right now, you still have Ryan O'Hearn and Ryan Mountcastle and Anthony Santander that are going to play first base.
It's just such a deep team.
I know, man.
I don't think it's a question of Kobe Mayo's. I think it's more his agility at third, how well he can cover, because Kobe Mayo has a cannon.
Big dude,
for
big
an
arm. Yeah.
A cannon.
Super strong arm. And also Jason was down there, and Cowser looks incredibly ready in person. Take it from a Cowser truther.
Massive Cowser truther.
He is. And for Cowser, talent has never been his issue. That for him, with a lot of the other younger players, it is when your opportunity presents itself moving forward, can you adapt? Because if you can't adapt in the second or third time, people are going to look at you differently. Like Kyle Stowers, I think he's got so much talent, but you can tell he's not one of their first or second options for the team right now. And Kyle Stowers has done a lot of tremendous things, but that's just the reality that we're dealing with.
If you're a manager, right? Like, I would imagine you want more consistency than anything with your players at specific positions. And I know that, Ryan, you've been a huge guy on Gunnar just staying at short and not going anywhere else. And he's been bouncing back and forth. And like, there's always been this thing about Gunnar going to third and maybe eventually moving Jackson Holliday to short because that's his natural position. So like, what do you do when you have so much depth here? Like, there's plenty of guys that could probably go out on any major league team and start opening day. But so then what do you do once they get to a point to where they develop and they're just sitting around? They're kind of, it's almost kind of feels like they're wasting talent, right? Like, so then is that when you start throwing out trades or like what happens?
Yeah. I think the Orioles are going to have to be more aggressive here. I think that these guys that have been on this cusp for a while,
it's almost like we're too deep.
Right. But that's a good problem because then you can then go out there and be more aggressive. I think this is kind of what the Orioles were going to do moving forward. I think everyone's going, well, they haven't done it yet. It's like, well, no, you just made a huge deal getting Corbin Burns. But the year prior to that in 2023, you weren't expecting to be where you were. No one expected you. And not that the team didn't think that they can go out and make the playoffs, but they were the best team in the American League. Like, that's how good they were. And then in 2022, you went from being projected to be one of the worst teams in baseball to on the final week of the season being in playoff contention. So, and during this whole time, you're figuring out this layer of players, of who's around and what's going to be their answer. And if there's potential fits then for you to go and trade those guys for value. So like my point, Joey Ortiz, value so high. DL Hall, value still very high. You wanted an ace. You went and got it. Like, that made perfect sense. So I think you're right. There's going to be moves that they're going to have to make. And the other part of it, and this isn't necessarily fun for the players, but injuries happen a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to have guys you feel like can go up and play. So the Orioles are definitely thinking about that. It's that balance of, do we want to have the depth that if we have a catastrophic injury, like last year when the Yankees lost Aaron Judge, one of the best players, you can't replace him. You can look at that moment and go, well, that lineup's in trouble. That team's in trouble. And they were.
Yeah.
For the Orioles, I think that's why they're having so much success why they will, is because if something happens, they do have the pieces. There isn't too much of a disparity. But you're right. At some point, their value is going to drop if they aren't being pushed at the major league level, and or if their roles are no longer to be starting or star players, they become more of, are you just part of the roster bench, but not considered to be an everyday guy?
Yeah.
And that's why I think people are trying to figure out, what is Kyle Stowers going to be? What is
Heston Kjerstad?
What is Heston Kjerstad going to be? What is Colton Cowser going to be? But for the time being, they all look like guys with high potential. And if you guys are just tuning in too, we appreciate you joining the Ryan Ripken Show. We're live every Monday, Thursday, and maybe some other days upcoming. We had a special stream earlier in the day. And yeah, we've been going a lot, all over the place today. Any other breaking news at this moment, Kevin?
We got Jordan Brooks, the
Yeah.
Seahawks linebacker, going to the Dolphins. 3 years, $30 million. That's almost $20 million cheaper than some people had him projected at. So two things that could mean: maybe the inside linebacker market is a little cheaper than anticipated for Patrick Queen, but also Seattle not bringing back Jordan Brooks does open up a spot for Patrick Queen on that roster, if especially there.
Because we reported earlier that there was, I guess, some interest between Patrick Queen and the Dolphins prior to this. So looks like they went with Jordan Brooks.
Holy shirts and pants. Well, I think, is there any other things that we want to talk about, or should I get ready to do a little Jackson Holliday breakdown of spring training? Shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it.
Kevin, are you ready for your moment?
This is it. Well, I know free agency's been
Well, hold on a second,
okay.
Kevin. While
Right,
Brad
okay.
gets up, we don't have to get some other looks at what Brad's doing.
It's more Rip After Dark.
Yeah, it's a lot of Rip After Dark. You know what? I've had a lot of teammates say they want to participate in Rip After Dark.
participation.
Well, participate in like the
story, the stories.
What do you? Yeah, the stories.
No, I wasn't.
Kevin.
No, I wasn't saying that. You put that energy in there.
Yeah, don't you put? And actually, also, we didn't have a chance to fully get into this yet, and I want to make sure our sponsors know. And we mentioned them earlier. It's our Adams Jeep sponsor, right behind. Well, Kevin. Good God, Kevin.
I do it slower now, so it's not like it's fast.
Oh, Kevin. Oh, Kevin. I think the slower is the better move.
I take a lot of intricate time. You know what? It'd be so funny if I spent like 30 minutes a day in the mirror just practicing. Like
You will get this right, Kevin.
Right.
Well, so our Adams Jeep sponsors behind Zach right there. They've been obviously so great for all of us throughout the years, and for Adam, or throughout this year so far, and through last season in the fall when we officially partnered with them. But Adams Jeep of Maryland, they got a few great deals we're going to post on our page about the friends and family event that they have going on as far as a promotional thing. So you guys should check that out. And they have a lot of pre-owned vehicles that are not just Jeeps. So if you're looking for a car, and they're willing to give you a $500 gas card to go along with it for as much as you travel, or at least I can feel that. I want that gas card myself. But Adams Jeep of Maryland, and if you need nothing else, they have great service. They can fit you in at any time. They do that with me all the time. Great sponsors, more to come with them. Now, without further ado, let's head back to Kevin's corner.
Thank you. We got Aziz Al-Shair signing with the Texans on a deal. So that's solid. At free agency, it feels like we could have honestly streamed for 7 hours straight, 8 hours straight.
Yeah, we could just keep going
with all these moves. I know a little bit of panic in the Ravens fan base right now, considering, and this always happens, right? This is like every single season where they do like nothing on the first day, they lose a bunch of guys, all the panic sets in, and then you have, for example, the second day a couple of years ago, they signed Marcus Williams, Morgan Moses, and Za'Darius Smith. The Smith thing didn't really work out for him, but
yeah,
there are still quality free agents available. But the Ravens like to see these markets develop and kind of assess what it is. So the inside linebacker market looks a little weaker money wise than anticipated. The running back market, I think, surprised a lot of people with how strong it was money wise. So
should we talk about the rumors going around right now in the running back market?
What are those?
I'm just the two I'm seeing is that there are two teams. I'm assuming one is the Texans because it's at a team in the AFC South, and the Ravens are the two talking to Derrick Henry at the moment.
Makes sense. I mean, I think, I mentioned it earlier. I think Baltimore, Houston, and Dallas are the three I'm looking at that are remaining for running backs. And it's almost like, I tweeted it out, it feels like all these teams are just like passing around their running backs. Like it's just a rotating circle of like, well, you have Antonio Gibson going to the Patriots, but then the Commanders bring in Austin Eckler, but then the Chargers bring in Josh Edwards, and the Ravens going to bring in somebody else, and then Tony Pollard goes to the Titans.
Yeah,
and
Josh Jacobs goes to Green Bay, then they release Aaron Jones so that they can go get it.
And we knew this was a really deep running back class in terms of free
Incredible.
agency, and the running back class in terms of the draft, obviously outside of Ryan's draft crush Blake Corum over there, not a very strong class. So this is where people are going to try to get a guy under contract. These are the guys who are going to contribute next season, guys who are ready. There are probably going to be a couple rookie running backs that do their thing, and that's totally fine. But I'm interested to see, because it feels like Baltimore is going to be in the market for one of these veterans. I don't know what's going to happen with J.K. Dobbins. I mean, I assume that both sides, especially Dobbins, just want a fresh start. I wouldn't anticipate him being back. The forgotten man here is almost Dalvin Cook. with how that whole thing went. I don't think he's back either.
I have
so.
seen a few people say the Ravens are really just going to bring back Dalvin
Yeah.
Cook and call it a day.
Nah, it could be Dalvin Cook, Odell, and calling it a day. That's what it was.
God, could you imagine the reaction that Ravens Twitter?
I don't want, especially after what
they would react to it very well and in a very thought
very
out
reasonable way.
Yeah,
very reasonable.
there would be no overreactions.
No,
That's
none.
what I like about Ravens Twitter. They never overreact.
Never
Same
happened
with the
before.
Orioles.
Never
Twitter.
happened before.
No, I don't see any drama. It's just everyone just giving their opinion and they just go
No,
about
you know,
their day.
my favorite example of the day is when they posted that Matabike quote, and every single comment was Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry.
We don't care. This ain't Derrick Henry.
And that's what happens at this time of year when a team posts. Teams can't even post the signings yet. They're not allowed to until Wednesday because this is the tampering period. The deals don't become official.
Oh yeah, well, I guess
Until-
Matabike because of re-sign.
Yeah, but that was just it was their own guy. So that's in the franchise tag. That's different.
Yeah, but if you weren't here for the NFL stream earlier, Nick Moore, we went back to his signing with the Baltimore Ravens, which was prior to Lamar Jackson signing his contract extension. And let's just say not a lot of people were hype about Nick Moore, the long snapper, getting signed instead and not Lamar Jackson being announced. And they let him know very clearly.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, good to go.
Oh, perfect. All right, let's move on over here for a second. I'm going to I muted myself. There we go. So we're here to this part of the program because I think this is the person that everyone Ryan, in this economy. Oh, we're back. Everyone here, though, Jackson Holliday is the name that's been getting the most traction, right? Colton Cowser, Kobe Mayo, Heston Kjerstad, a lot of these young players that people are very interested in. But this is the player, Jackson Holliday, that everyone wants to understand a little bit why. So I have 5 clips here of just kind of showing Jackson Holliday's success over the last couple weeks in spring training. And it might not seem like a lot to you, but this is a hitter at 20 years old that is so much more advanced than I think people realize. And I think this is why I want to give the idea of expectation. Why the hell does this keep going off? There we go. We're going back here for a second. But I want people to get an understanding of what he does extremely well. And for me, when you're that young and in big moments, this is Zach Wheeler. Get it. Zach Wheeler, one of the best pitchers in the National League. He's probably working on his stuff. But 2-strike count, Jackson is so relaxed with his setup and his load. So I want you to focus on that. We know the result here. He's going to smack a pitch. Let's play that. What I like about this, when I was talking about with Jackson Holliday, when you're a young player, and we've got to get this thing up here. When you're a young player, okay, being comfortable with your setup is so important. And I want you to watch how controlled his movement going back. So meaning when he's starting off, he is going to get the proper transfer of weight or what I like to tell people is you get a lot of power, but you got to go back to go forward. That's like the terminology that people look at. Jackson is loading up and going back to go forward, but he's doing it under control. So when you're seeing this, look at that. So easy, under control. So when the ball's coming in, he's in a great position. He's able to get the bat to it with what Jackson Holliday does. This was the next at bat, I believe, or it's later in the game. Yep, third, extremely fast, great athlete. And I tell people this all the time. I wish I worked on this more as a kid, but I played other sports. That's something that I never wish I would have changed. I wish I kept playing more sports. But if you saw Jackson talk in the offseason, he likes to be active and even do movements that aren't baseball related. It ultimately is going to help you as an athlete. But I wish I got better at my running mechanics. I run like a duck. How he runs, it's fantastic because he truly can turn a single into a double into a triple, and be able to extend plays with his legs. That's essentially what he's capable of doing. Okay, as we keep going here, this is interesting. This is a different angle. And this is actually, shout out to Andy Kafka with the Baltimore Banner, because this angle here, I want you to understand, this is after Jackson started he started the game 0 for 2. And when you're a young hitter and you're going through struggles, how do you bounce back? And I thought one of the best examples of advice that I got was hearing one at bat can change your entire mindset, can change your entire game. The hard thing is when you're young and you're going through that, to understand that. And Jackson, when he talked with Rocco, even said those words. He goes, I'm really, really worried about the next at bat. And I was 2 for my last 2, which he ended up doing this. He got a hit here and a triple the next at bat. But talking about using the whole field, this is how you can stay out of the slump. The adjustment here, he's going to drive this ball to left center for a hit to get right back on track. And that might not seem like much to a lot of people, but to me, a guy that can go the other way, and you can also see how much power he has to center and to right center, it's ultimately going to help you stay out of slumps. Jackson Holliday, since the first 2 games of spring training, has really been tremendous at finding his ways to adjust, especially as games go on. Sometimes, too, it's great to be lucky. But Jackson's in a great position, and actually why I wanted to have this video up here is because the other ones you might not be able to tell it. Jackson is able to keep his front shoulder in so well. And what I mean by that is in the previous Jorge Mateo breakdown, I talked about, I'll come to this part of the screen now. If I was talking about as a hitter, okay, and if you're going to swing and that first movement is going off the ball like this, your shoulder gets long, the bat gets longer, and your head comes off the baseball, right? But as you watch with Jackson here, Jackson's front shoulder is already on the baseball to stay in. And when you stay closed and allow yourself to get in a good position, then the bat can come flying through. And that's what Jackson Holliday does so well. Now, this one, he gets more lucky than anything. And that's sometimes what you got to do is just be lucky. He's going to squib a ball down the line, but he's going to get a base hit out of it. But I'm showing this because it's setting up the grand slam that's going to be the next clip I'm going to show you to kind of put this all together, okay? And I think everyone watched the grand slam the other day with Jackson Holliday. And I think that's, this is also him stealing the base, talking about his speed. He's capable of doing so much, and he's so young, but he is confident. That's the other thing. He is confident at this age to take advantage of opportunities. And I think this is, there it is. Might as well just show this as well. Great jump, shuffle, great anticipation. And that's another part of his game that is not talked about. Okay, this is what I really wanted to talk about. So I talked about his front shoulder being on the baseball. Look at where that is. That thing is tucked in. So his first movement when he's going back is that front shoulder is staying on the baseball in a super strong position. And we talked about it before, 2 strikes on Jackson Holliday. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. He puts himself in a position, lefty on lefty, and his front foot is still going to land more centered, and it might be a little bit off-angled, but he is still more centered and balanced, regardless that his body is going to fall off here and drive it, because that's where the ball is going to go, is the right center. He stays on the baseball long enough with his first movement this way, and then after it and he extends through, he's going to fall away. And we all know the results here. Pimps that puppy. He knows it's gone. It's a great moment for him. And you're seeing all the skills that he's capable of doing. And this, for him, he expects it. He expects to be this good. And not that he's overconfident or he's cocky. He's not. He's the last thing from all of that. But you have to have belief that you can go up there against any pitcher, especially in the major leagues, and have success. And Jackson Holliday, it seems, as spring's gone on, he's gotten more confidence that he belongs. Here's that side angle. And I think this is the beautiful part of it. Look at the positions he's in. Look where that front shoulder is in. That thing is tucked in. That thing's in a great position. So when this is his firing spot right here, okay? He is in the exact right position he needs to be. So when his body's going forward, he's ready to do some serious damage. And you're going to see it. And that's just, and he knew it. When you're feeling frisky, you'll let it fly. You'll let it eat. Jackson Holliday is such a talented player, and the Orioles got it right by picking him number 1 overall. And I think the beauty that people need to understand, if he makes the roster or not, to me is irrelevant. His future is higher than anybody else that's coming into Major League Baseball. The only other player on the Orioles I'd rival him with for long-term is Gunnar Henderson, very high on Gunnar. But Jackson Holliday is a type of player that everything's there. And if he's ready and they think he's going to play every day, he has every makings to make every adjustment as quick as possible. But you got to live with the growing pains for him. But you are seeing the ceiling. There really is no ceiling for Jackson Holliday. But what we do know is Jackson Holliday will be in Baltimore. And I know for a lot of Oriole fans, you're hoping that's going to be coming down the orange carpet, playing second base on March 28th against the Angels. Back to you, Kevin, for Kevin's Corner.
That's what I'm here for. Good breakdown again, Brian. I think when you're talking about Jackson Holliday, I mean, we see the potential right there. Mm-hmm. So it was fun to see some film and get some breakdowns on the film from him. Going back to free agency, because again, that's the hot topic, not for baseball. We got Zach broke the news to me actually of Michael Onwenu going back to the Patriots, 3-year, $57 million deal, or 51 or 50. It was 50 plus million. I think a really solid deal for them. This is actually not a bad contract, right about $19 million per season. Really solid, versatile player. I know a lot of people had him as a potential target for the Ravens with their interior. So that's another guy off of the board there. I'd still expect the Ravens to be active in the running back market, looking for a third safety to replace Geno Stone too. We know that the Ravens like 3 safety looks and putting guys there, plus having the insurance for Marcus Williams, because Williams has gone down with some big injuries the past couple of seasons. So I think for me, you look at maybe a guy like a Micah Hyde or a Jordan Poyer, guys that were released by the Bills, or I mean, it'd be awesome to have Justin Simmons, but I just think he's too good for a third safety job. I think he's going to go be a starter somewhere. But then you look at the corner position where you lose Ronald Darby. Do you bring back Arthur Millette? Well, that's a slot guy. Darby played primarily on the outside for the Ravens. So were you maybe looking more towards a veteran like a Stephon Gilmore? Do you take a chance on Trey White, even though he's had a couple of really big injuries the past couple of seasons? So there are options, but the options are dwindling. But this is what the Ravens kind of do, right? They wait for the markets to develop, as we've talked about. So it's not necessarily overly shocking they've done this, but I think the fact that they've already lost 4 guys does sting. But I think we have to all remember the Ravens did re-sign Justin Madubuike, and that's the move that everybody wanted at the top of the list. And so I think we do have to remember that one.
Yeah, everyone needs to remember that. That was a huge get for the Ravens. Madubuike was the primary priority for the team going into this offseason, which was great to see. If you're a Baltimore sports fan in general, it's a very good time. And even though despite a lot of coaches on the Ravens going, the Ravens still have a very talented team. I know players, Geno Stone as well, gone today. Ronald Darby gone today. Gus Edwards gone. Eric DeCosta, again, we gave an appreciation clap for him earlier today. He has done a tremendous job of trying to put the right pieces together. And it will be more of, I guess I should say, it's a little bit more of a challenge in the sense of you did lose some of your big pieces, even in the front office. But Eric's up for the challenge. Ozzie groomed him extremely well, and Eric is very well aware of what the team needs to do to have success moving forward. And I mean, the Ravens were a game away from being in the Super Bowl, and they were for the second time in the last 5 seasons, however you want to consider it, of being the number 1 overall seed in the AFC and everything running through Baltimore. Now it's just trying to take that next step. Any other thoughts, concerns, guys, as we wrap it up here, Brad? Any other final poll? I know you're working with me, so probably not.
No, I don't have any more polls. I'll be better next time. I'll be better for Thursday.
No, we were good. You were crushing, and we had some great conversations as always. Zach, do you have anything working over there in your mind?
Just making sure this. No, that was just about the left guard news. Yeah, no breaking news since.
Well, I appreciate it. If you're just tuning in, hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to this channel. And if you're not, still hit that like button. And if you're listening to us on X, hit that follow button for all of us if you do not mind. I'm at Ryan Ripken. We have at Own the Chaos, at Chaos Striker 34, and at Zach Bollinger 18, who is on his phone doing his thing. We're not logging out just yet. Last thing I wanted to comment on the Jackson Holliday part for a second. I saw people or Nomadic Brian made this point, training, focus, and mechanics got it down. Yeah, Jackson Holliday, he's so polished and he's so put together. And I think just the speed of the game for him, the biggest compliments you can get in sports for me is when your peers tell you belong and when someone says the game just seems like it slows down for you. And the way that he presents himself and how he hits and everything he does, it feels like the game just slows down for him. And it's only going to slow down more for him. And Don, we appreciate it. We're great stream. Your wife subscribed. We love it.
You're done.
You better be clapping, Kevin. There we go.
Kevin, don't you do it.
Don't you do it, Kevin.
You're almost, you know what? I'll save that thought for later. But we appreciate everyone that joined us as always. And again, if you can't listen or you can't watch us, you can still listen to us on the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. We're working on more and more, but go listen to us there. Do not watch and drive if you are on the road. Please, we do not want to be responsible for that. But we do want to be responsible for giving you all the content that we possibly can moving forward. So make sure you have your alerts on. We will try to let you know on any updates. We do have a Discord where we are going to post more and more. We're working on it. And we're going to continue. And Houston, I appreciate you. I'm glad Rocco did not block you anymore. I'm going to do a lot more breakdowns, and that's going to be the fun part when the season starts, and I can actually break down more specific plays of what's going on. And you guys let me know who you guys would like to see broken down in the future, and we will continue the Know Your Foe segment moving forward. All right, guys, I'm out of breath. We've had a long damn day up here, but I guess we'll do our sign-off. Do I start the music before or after?
Start it.
Start it. Go ahead.
All right, let's start it up. Oh, that's great. Here's Blocko de Sangro.
Oh,
So
that's
good.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
baby.
That's so good.
He's a good kid. We'll see Rocco on here next time. But for all of you guys, and we will still need help with the Discord. We are working on that, and we will talk more
Keep
about
reminding us, Cube. Just
Yes,
keep reminding
please.
us.
Please do. We are trying to get it all together, but please let us know. All right, cue the music. Oh,
Top left.
wrong one, but that was kind of nice. There we go.
Oh yeah.
All righty, for Brad, Kevin Ostreicher, and Zach Bollinger. I'm Ryan Ripken. Have a day, have a night, and we will see you next time for another edition of the Ryan Ripken Show.
Peace. Peace in the
This
roof,
is so corny.